you're here. Welcome to our 6th annual Radiant Hope fundraiser and our Hope Changes Everything event. Those of you that don't know me, my name's Jen Metz, and I'm the Director of Operations here at Radiant Hope. So first off, I want to thank everyone for being here. A lot of these faces were with us 6 years ago at Adventure Park when we had our first fundraiser, and a lot of faces are brand new and new friends of Radiant Hope, and we are so thankful that all of you chose to come here tonight and spend the evening with us. And I hope you had fun at our first, we kind of grew up and we had our first adult event, and I hope you guys had fun tonight. I hope you had fun playing mini golf and having some great food and drink and company. So I am extremely passionate about Radiant Hope and the work that we do, and I'm most excited tonight because you're all going to get a little bit of a glimpse into who we are and what we do tonight. So it is my privilege to introduce two very special friends of Radiant Hope, and I'm going to point you guys to the screen, and they're going to share a little bit of their very impactful stories. And then after they share, you're going to hear from our 40-year-old Executive Director, Joanna Denstedt. Today's her birthday. And you're going to get to hear from her, and Joe's going to share her heart with you. So thank you all for being here.
Yeah, so my cancer journey was very unexpected. So 2020 was a crazy year for everybody. In November 13th, I went for a regular annual exam, went to my doctor, and she felt my neck and she looked at it, she's like, I think it's a little bit swollen and I feel something a little bit odd. So she's like, I'd feel more comfortable if you went and had an ultrasound. So he came back, it was just before Thanksgiving, and the diagnosis was that it was metastatic papillary thyroid cancer. So no idea how long it had been growing, but it did start in the thyroid and then had spread to the lymph nodes. So at this point, I'm 33 years old. I want to start a family. I have a husband and two wonderful bonus daughters, but want to be able to have my own children. So for me, it was kind of that, oh my word, I have cancer. I can't have kids right now. What does this mean for me? How serious is this? What is this plan going to be for my treatment? My surgery was December 16th. Got everything taken care of through that whole journey, and it was only a month, but all these different appointments. During COVID world, no one can be with you. You can't have your husband, you can't have your mom, you can't have your sister. You're in all of these alone. It was a very challenging time. When I heard about Radiant Hope was actually the same time that I received a box from Radiant Hope. After my initial consultation and discussion about the radioactive iodine and finding out what that process was going to look like for me and hearing it was going to delay my journey to motherhood by at least an additional year, I was having a really, really rough week. So I'm looking at this, I'm thinking like, Dillsburg, who did this come from? Like, who sent me this box? And I start to open this up. And as I'm opening, it's like every layer unfolds, and it's just scripture and a devotional for people who have cancer, which I never even thought to look for, but all this bright, yellow, happy things. It's just really phenomenal for me. I'm thinking, who knew that I needed this stuff? But as I read more, and I read the card that the box was not only sent by somebody who loves me, I still don't know who sent that box, and I'm incredibly grateful, but that it was prayed over. And I was so emotionally wrecked that people who don't even know me, who don't know my journey, prayed for me and cared enough to send that package. And I was so lucky to have support from family and friends, but when it comes from somebody that these people don't even know you, it almost just hits in such a different way, such a higher level. For somebody who you just don't even know on any given day, did they have a bad doctor's appointment? Did they have a phone call with news that they didn't expect? Are they struggling with any part of what that cancer does to their life, whatever part of the journey that they're on? When you receive a box from Radiant Hope and it's just so unexpected, it is such an amazing feeling to know that you are loved and you are cared for, and that you can see how God uses the people in your life, even those that don't know you, to be able to just give you that encouragement that you need.
My cancer journey started on April 16th, I believe, of 2016 for my wife, Tina Moore, who was diagnosed with bladder cancer. And I lost Tina to the cancer July 31st of 2019. Tina was a fighter and very much a believer. Whenever she was diagnosed and first started treatment, she continued to work 5 days a week, even with the chemos that she was receiving. I mean, everybody thinks I'm tough, that's tough. She'd fought very much for almost 4 years, but it was ultimately the bladder cancer that took her. A lot of times, yes, it was very lonely to be a caregiver. Towards the end, out of a week, if I got 15 hours sleep, that was a lot. You're afraid to sleep because you don't know when that time's coming. And so, yeah, you very much feel lonely that you think that no one cares. To have Radiant Hope and just to get, say a text from them, say, hey, how are you doing? How's things going? Do you need anything? Yeah, that was very much an uplifting thing. When I think of Radiant Hope, I think of happiness, that there's still that chance of being happy again, that there's still that hope of getting through this dark time. I believe the impact was with Tina that there was someone in an organization who could very much relate to what she was going through with just dealing with the cancer, the diagnosis, and the what ifs, what's to be, with just preparing a meal, whether it was at a Hope Lodge or just sending a care package with some inspirational notes or anything like that. It makes such a huge difference in someone's life.
It's a hard act to follow, but that's why we do what we do. So I get to share with you a little glimpse into who we are and what we're on the ground doing every day, but I hope that just gives you a glimpse into why we're on the ground running the way that we are day in and day out. So first, I have some thanks that I want to do before I share with you. So some of our sponsors, Steve Wiley at Unger Family Dentistry, thank you for being our main Hope Level sponsor, and to all the sponsors that made tonight happen. We would not be here tonight without your support. Thank you for the donated items, all the companies that made tonight happen, the tables, the desserts, the flowers, all of the things that were put together to make tonight happen. To my board of directors, some of you sitting right here, thank you guys. Your devotion and your expertise on laying the groundwork for where we are is needed and inspirational to me. To all of you sitting here, thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for your support and your presence these last 6 years to get us off our feet and launched, and for your steadfast prayers and financial support. And lastly but not least at all, thank you to my leadership team. Raise your hands, girls, the ones in yellow out there all over the place. Yes, thank you. You guys are on the ground with me, like I said, making this all happen. Thank you for walking in the joys and the sorrows of this with me. As a cancer survivor, when I received that package 6 years ago and had the vision for Radiant Hope, I never knew how this beautiful organization would unfold before our eyes. I'm gonna not cry or it'll take a lot longer. Before sharing about this past year, I want to do a quick little glimpse of the impact that Radiant Hope has had over the last 6 years since inception. So, since established in 2015, we have sent 2,096 Hope packages. This year so far, we've sent 316, and we continue to send out nearly 40 a month. Starting in 2019, we provided 40 water bottles monthly with gift cards and small useful items to hospital infusion rooms and doctors' offices. We've sent out 960 of these water bottles. A large part of our ministry over the last 6 years has been being present with those in their cancer journey. For 5 years, we spent evenings at Hope Lodge, totaling 45 visits and meeting with over 1,000 survivors and caregivers. Starting just 3 years ago with our pack parties, we've had hosts in over 34 locations all over central Pennsylvania, telling our story and partnering with close to 700 individuals who have attended these events to create our packages. Holiday Hope started our very first year, and each year we've supported one family. This past year we were able to support 3, and since 2015 we've supported 8 families in our community. But how do you measure the impact of helping someone? Each one of those numbers represents not only a cancer patient, but also a family, a caregiver, and a whole community. When all of you guys join us, you're supporting that whole circle, and that's immeasurable. You just can't measure the difference of helping one life. So that brings us to this past year. And when the pandemic hit, everyone seemed to change their systems to fit into a new mold. All around, small organizations like ours were forced to reevaluate, emergency plan, and reestablish new and perhaps better ways. The pandemic changed a lot of things, but it didn't change cancer. Without going into the lament of what this last year has brought, I want to share with you guys tonight ways, amidst the adversity, Radiant Hope has continued to thrive. Staying true to our mission, even when it's difficult to do so, is our #1 priority. We've been called to step into that with these families, and that isn't changing. We will be with you now, and we've dedicated our lives to be with you whatever may come. I felt strongly, and we still do as a team, that as the tides change, God has asked us to remain. We are passionate about listening well and instilling a vision of hope. Not a hope that comes through better circumstances in life, but an eternal, unshakable hope that comes with knowing Jesus. Thank you. In retrospect now, I have seen what seemed like swimming against the current is actually God revealing He has the best plan. So let me share with you some of those upstream moments from this past year and how God has enabled us to swim through with success and growth. The first barrier we've overcome this past year is with our community engagement. Although there's no longer a Hope Lodge, and we weren't allowed to be in hospitals because of COVID protocols, we instead this year established new relationships with oncology offices and social workers to connect us to the patients who need support. This has allowed us to send our boxes to places we may not have previously reached, places where our own feet cannot stand. This growth is at a capacity that we wouldn't be able to reach with these new partnerships. Stacy, who's one of our social workers we work with at a local oncology office, handed a water bottle to a patient right after they received their new diagnosis and treatment plan. She said that despite all of the bad news that they received that day, they were able to leave with a renewed sense of strength because they were encouraged by Radiant Hope even when we could not be there. We love personally walking alongside of those experiencing cancer, and this year has limited our ability to do that. So we have found a training program that we can go through as a team that will equip, train, and strengthen us to better support those that we serve. Hope is seeping through new seams in our community engagement. Just this past week, we talked to another organization in our area supporting cancer survivors, and they want to know how they can get on board with Radiant Hope. The possibilities are endless. Radiant Hope has what so many are looking for and what so many need. The second barrier we've overcome, and not only overcome, but built successful growth out of this past year, is with our package shipping and our pack party events. This past fall, we worked remotely with a Messiah University class to establish our Harvest Hope program. This program, created during a pandemic, enabled our community to still serve. We had 12 Pack Party hosts set up their own mostly outdoor events with their close friends, and together these hosts packed close to 300 boxes, providing enough packages to cover us all throughout the fall and the winter. A video was also created that tells our story, which allows Radiant Hope's mission to go into all of these places. The opportunity of our Harvest Hope program and our pack parties allows others to put their own unique touch on an event and allows anyone to be personally involved as a volunteer to pack our boxes, give, and pay it forward. This unique part of Radiant Hope has grown to reach thousands of people in just a few short years. In December, one family of 5 chose to pack boxes as a way to give back. They packed holiday-themed boxes that were sent out the week before Christmas to some of the most devastating stories that you could imagine. It doesn't take much, but a willing heart to encourage someone in their hardest days. Lastly, what we thought was a barrier in our Holiday Hope program has been another area of development and growth. Every year since we started, we've chosen one family to support who has a parent in active treatment over the holidays. This year we felt like we wanted to expand, but we didn't know what would work during a pandemic. But God met our wildest expectations and allowed us to support 3 families in Christmas of 2020. Also, he provided a way for us to allow and develop a growth plan to identify other key times of year to sustain families in need. Our process provides a remote, confidential way to communicate with a family representative who works with Radiant Hope to determine and meet the needs of a family during a difficult season. It is our hope that with the new development of our Holiday Hope program, we will be able to connect groups in our community to support these families. There are children all over our community who have a parent trying to stay alive, let alone to be able to provide for them. This is one way that we can come alongside of these families. We're excited for the growth and the expansion of this in 2021. These are just a few barriers that we've overcome this past year, and I share them with you as a way to connect you to our mission and the work that we're on the ground doing, and for you to see how even in difficult seasons, we're continuing to grow at a fast pace by God's grace and with your help. We at Radiant Hope are primarily volunteers, feeling called, ready to connect to the cancer community, and with willing hearts to step into the difficulty that cancer brings. This past year, we've prayed for each story that's reached our organization. This is essential and of most important to us as a team. We are inspired to continue our work every day by the stories of the survivors that we hear. I'm reminded every day that if all of this changes one life, then it's worth our efforts, our energy, our prayers, and our time. Because here's the thing, if you haven't been affected by cancer, you will be. Statistics say so. Cancer diagnosis and the devastation that comes with it is on the rise, and Radiant Hope strives to be a place of support and encouragement. That's our mission. But we also want to equip you so that as cancer continues to grow, so might we, in a way that we can multiply and step into this together, knowing how to connect, encourage, and instill that vision of eternal hope into a hurting world. Now I want to share with you a quick little glimpse into the future of Radiant Hope. 1.5 years ago, we created a board of directors, and one of the things we've been working on this past year is a 5-year strategic plan to steward well and carry out our mission as effectively and efficiently as we can to bring hope to those who need it. We're still in the final stages of that plan, but I want to share with you a couple things that we're looking to do. Number one, no matter what, we will stay true to our mission, and we will evaluate every opportunity against that benchmark. Number two, we've established our effective and multiplying programs, and we hope to see growth and more opportunities within them. We will see more families facing cancer be supported by Radiant Hope. As we've been growing, third thing, as we've been growing, we've seen a great need for better structure in terms of clarified roles and staffing. So this is a foundational part of continued success to carry out our mission. So we're working on growing our leadership team and our volunteer base while refining roles and responsibilities. As our board and our leadership team have met this past year, we realize there's so many things to do, but we can't do them all. I'll raise my hand, I'm leading charge of that one. So we're working on prioritizing continued steps forward. Our staff literally has the hearts of gold, and they would do anything to comfort those in their cancer journey. Obviously, and central to all of these things is being able to build more financial capacity for Radiant Hope through inviting more partners and increased levels of support. We realize sometimes it's more exciting for our donors to give to parts of our ministry that go directly to those impacted by cancer. But we can't reach more people without first focusing on our infrastructure. So we hope that through this fundraiser tonight and throughout the coming year, that we are able to create a more financially stable organization for reliable growth. Just think, if each of you tonight pledged $25 a month, the cost of about 5 Starbucks drinks, we would as a group here far surpass our fundraising goal and work towards the future of God's unraveling plan. I'm astonished when I see all that God has done, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do next. I never dreamed this would unfold in my life and in the life of our community right here. Facing cancer brought the most devastating days to my life, but the purpose that has been born out of that pain has produced more than I could have ever imagined. Living this out and leading this charge is hard, humbling, but the most beautiful journey. I saw a vision and I gave my life to this work, and God has run away with it. There are people right in front of us struggling with cancer, and some being ushered into eternity, and we must be a group that prays for, speaks encouragement into, and loves these individuals in every way that we can. It is the beat of my heart to create a safe place where no one will face cancer alone. I can't thank you all enough for walking alongside of us as we walk alongside of others who so desperately need it. Supporting, encouraging, and speaking life and hope may not be measurable or seen, but it can change the whole world. And always remember that hope changes everything. Thank you. We are going to listen to one more testimonial, and then one of our board members, Deb Pearson, is going to close us out this evening. So listen to this last Michelle share.
Well, my cancer journey started in 2020. As if the year wasn't going bad enough, I went for a screening mammogram in August, and this was my 5th screening mammogram. I was 45. I really have no risk factors for cancer, so thought, no problem, in and out. They don't even keep you anymore to preliminary look at it. And so I left, thinking everything was fine. And a couple days later, they called me back and said, oh, you need to come back for some more images. I went the next week for my next pictures, and I stayed for an ultrasound. And at that point, I just kind of had a gut feeling that this was not going to be a cyst. This was going to be something different. And I'm medical, I'm a physician assistant, so I just looked right at the radiologist and said, okay, tell me. I mean, I know you're supposed to wait for the official report, but tell me what you're seeing. And when she described it, I knew that this was probably cancer. 3 days later, I went and had a biopsy, and then I waited for 3 more days to get the results, which felt like 3 months. So then on August 24th, I had my official visit where they told me and my husband, and my mom was with me, that I had breast cancer. And I don't know, they started talking all kinds of stuff, and honestly at that point, you're not hearing much. You don't hear much after they say cancer. Well, I thought that I first heard of Radiant Hope when Joanna asked me if I got my package in the mail. And I had worked with Joanna's husband and had shared my journey with him, and he shared with her, and so she was thoughtful enough to want to send me a package. I said, no, I haven't gotten a package. Oh, it's on the way. So I did end up getting a package in the mail, and it was right after my surgery, so I was still home, just trying to recover and trying to take all of this in. And you know, I opened up my little package, and it was just so sweet and thoughtful. But to me, the thing that stood out the most is that the package had been prayed over. And I'm a Christian, and I knew that I had tons of people already praying for me. But to have strangers praying for me, and just to have that reminder that you're not alone in this, and that the God of the universe who created you is watching you, and he's over you in all of this, and he has this. And you need to just relax, Michelle, because I like to take charge, but this isn't a situation where you're in charge. And so it was just a reminder that I needed to put my hope and faith and trust in God. And so I keep these little cards that came in my package, and they have little Bible verses on them. And these are on my dresser, and every single morning I just read them, and I'm reminded that, you know, God is there for me, and that he does want me to have, you know, a good future, and he has a plan for me. And somehow this was part of his plan too, and that's okay. You know, I still have some of the things, the water bottles in my car, and I have a little makeup bag and a mirror. But every time I see those things, I'm just reminded that that I'm not alone, and that even strangers care about my cancer journey.
Thank you. Wow, that's incredible. And one of the things I'm reminded of when I follow Radiant Hope on social media, and they ask for prayers over those packages, and for me it's just a picture of a group of packages, and I do pray, that's the impact. And so I encourage you all to double down on that as you see that quick post of we're sending packages. There are lives behind those boxes. So I'm Deb Pearson. I'm a board member. I had the privilege to start mentoring Joanna as she was journeying further into Radiant Hope, and she asked me to join the board. I'm a local business owner, and I'm here because in 2001, my younger brother was diagnosed with melanoma with a 6-week-old baby. And he eventually passed from melanoma, participating in research that potentially saved Joe's life. The drug that she took, he was at the NIH participating in research on. So what a connection we have, which is lovely. And when my brother had melanoma, the encouragement and support of the church and Christian community meant so much to me. It's something that we clung to, and so many people don't have that. So Radiant Hope means so much to me. So why donate to Radiant Hope? You guys work really hard for your funds. Why us over somebody else? Well, because our mission is to connect people with the love of Jesus by encouraging them. And so it's not just a package. The package is the first step to connection and relationship. And as a board member in the strategic planning we just went through, we really want to be sure that that's a step that we can further into support that goes something like dinners at a Hope Lodge, other ways to do longer-term relationship to support people who don't necessarily have the church community behind them supporting them. So how do you donate? If you haven't figured it out, you've got QR codes, you've got the website, you can hand us money, we'll take it. Go to the information table, and any questions that you have about tonight or Radiant Hope or how you can help, also on the information table.